As we've mentioned in previous presentations, in order for the Anti-Federalists to agree to the ratification of the Constitution, they had to get the Federalists to agree to immediately write a Bill of Rights. And the Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. The First Amendment: Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. What that really means is that there's 5 parts to the First Amendment. 1, an individual's right to free speech, within reason. 2, the press, or the media's right to free speech, so being able to write what you want. This dates back to the John Peter Zenger case of 1733. 3, the freedom of religion. 4, the freedom to assemble, so to protest in a crowd, but as long as it's peaceful. 5, the freedom to petition the government, which is a written form of protest. This is a sign that was used by the Occupy Wall Street movement. We are not camping, we are peaceably assembling to petition the government for a redress of grievances. This is our permit, and the permit being a copy of the Bill of Rights. Amendment 2. A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Translation: well-regulated militia means limit the ability of the military from gaining political power. Well-regulated is the key word here. Security of a free state means it is important for the country to remain a free one. And shall not be infringed equals the citizens of the United States have every right to keep, which is own, and bear, which is to carry, firearms. A little joke here. The Second Amendment. Washington did not use his free speech right to defeat the British. He shot them. Amendment 3. No soldiers shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in the time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Translation: in the colonial period, the British would force citizens to quarter troops, which means to feed them, house them, maybe even clothe them. This is often against their will. Today, you wouldn't really see this problem because of things like barracks in the military. However, in a time of crisis, if it was asked of a citizen to quarter a U.S. soldier, it would either have to be voluntary or Congress would have to order it. Then it would be lawful. Here's a reenactment or a photo of the British forcing themselves into a person's home. Amendment 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. The translation is that citizens should be able to be comfortable in their privacy and personal property, and that it would not be searched without probable cause. If there is probable cause, the police have to be provided with a search warrant by a judge, or a warrant for arrest by a judge. That warrant must specify where the search will take place and what they are searching for. If you don't read a warrant carefully, you might be allowing the police to do something that the warrant doesn't allow them to do. So for example, if they had a warrant that said they could search your garage, it might not say that they can search your home or your entire property. So they have to be limited to the judge's decision, and a lot of people overlook this. Here are some police ready to bust through someone's door. Amendment 5. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces, or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same events to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. This is a pretty hefty amendment. The translation here is that no one can be put on trial without an indictment, which is a decision there's enough evidence against you to justify a trial, and this decision is made by a grand jury. Also, the military can have its own court system for soldiers. No one can be put on trial for the same crime twice. This is called double jeopardy. No one can be forced to be a witness against themselves. This is where people in a courtroom can say, "I plead the fifth." No one can be denied life, liberty, or property without due process of law, which that quotation, due process of law, simply means fair proceedings. You'll notice, too, that the language, life, liberty, and property, goes back to John Locke. Thomas Jefferson also used similar language in the Declaration of Independence. Property cannot be taken by the government for the common good without just, which is fair, compensation, which is payment to the owner. Amendment 5, very loaded amendment. There's a lot to it. The "I plead the fifth" face. If you look at this little puppy dog that has torn all the stuffing out of the couch and is now looking at you with those puppy dog eyes, I plead the fifth. Amendment 6. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. The translation of this is, there shall be a speedy and public trial of any accused person. The jury shall be of your peers, which means of normal citizens from your region or area. You can't cherry pick the jury box. You must be informed of the crime of which you're accused. That is also known as habeas corpus. We wrote that down in a different set of notes. Habeas corpus. You must know the witnesses for the prosecution, which is who will speak against you, and you must be given a fair amount of time to gather your own witnesses to speak on your behalf. You are also entitled to a lawyer to speak on your behalf. This is a joke. It's not very funny. There have been Supreme Court cases over the years, one being Miranda v. Arizona, about people being read their rights when they are arrested. It says, you have the right to remain silent. Anything that has been secretly given to us by the NSA can be used against you, and we can conceal that information from you, your attorney, and the courts. Unfortunately, even though this is a joke and meant to be funny, this has happened. Amendment 7. In suits at common law where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. So what this really means is that the lawsuit number of $20, first of all, has been adjusted for inflation over the years, or everything that was a controversy would be debated. If a fine or lawsuit is above the figure used, the accused person is entitled to a jury trial. Anything below these amounts is allowed to be decided by an individual judge. Here's a picture of a gavel, and you'll notice Facebook in the background. The Facebook lawsuit where the guys who, and ladies, who invented Facebook in college kind of sued each other, who owned more of the company than the other, and because it was such a large case, this was decided by a jury. Amendment 8. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. The translation is, a criminal's bail shall not be excessive, A fine, which is a monetary punishment, cannot be excessive. And lastly, a person cannot be punished in a cruel and unusual way. So for example, you can't tar and feather someone for a crime. Now, a very good question is waterboarding torture. Is it cruel and unusual? This is an even more controversial topic of discussion when you talk about a U.S. citizen and a foreign combatant. Because U.S. citizens are entitled to their rights according to the Constitution and Bill of Rights. Are foreign combatants also entitled to those rights? It is a very, very, very controversial question. Amendment 9. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. So the translation is, just because a right isn't listed in the Constitution or Bill of Rights doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The Founding Fathers knew they weren't perfect and that they may overlook something. This is what this amendment was created for, was to protect the rights of people, rights in particular that hadn't even really been thought of yet. So there are rights that are in modern societies, such as gay marriage, different types of privacy, that are not really in the black and white world of the Constitution. It's a gray area, and that's really what the Ninth Amendment was created for. Amendment 10. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. Translation: the powers of the federal government, not specifically listed, are left for the states and or people to decide. So for example, gay marriage, which is considered a right today. Many court decisions have supported this. If it is not something that is exclusively written in the Constitution, Amendment 9 says that right can still exist, and Amendment 10 says that it is up to the states and or the people to decide those issues. So gay rights has been decided at the state level. It has been decided by state courts as well as votes of the people of those states. There have also been Supreme Court decisions on this issue. That's the conclusion of the Bill of Rights presentation. Please make sure that you take the online quiz. You can use your notes for this quiz, so doing well should not be an issue. Thank you.